So Fresh is also another Hulu original movie. This one is starring Sebastian Stan. Here in this movie, it kind of is chronicling the dating life a little bit of a girl called Noah, who is played by Daisy Edgar-Jones. She's kind of, kind of woman in her 20s navigating the dating life, how difficult it is, on trying to do the whole online dating thing. Tinder is basically what she's on, swiping. Even
Hmm.
the beginning of this movie opens up with her meeting a guy. Of course, the guy's name is Chad, of course, and he turns out to be a total asshole. I mean, it's a guy named Chad
Oh
who,
yeah, he's like rude to the wait staff at the Chinese restaurant. He like for the entire and this like hilarious note. It's like the end of the night, and he's like, "Hey, you want to get a couple to go by? Take yours too."
yeah, yeah. So it's just like it's tough in kind of those situations. So yeah, I mean, I get it. I'm in kind of those dating things like that, on the Tinder and things like that, and how kind of awkward these first dates
Yeah,
can be.
yeah, I am too. It's a very, at least the first this movie. It's a very accurate portrayal of what it's like to online date in present times.
Yeah. And her date was, I was like, oh, that's that guy. It's the guy from Jane the Virgin who was the boyfriend of her character for many, many seasons. I was like, oh, yeah, hey, look at him. I was like, hey, good to see him and getting some work there.
Oh, I knew I recognized that guy somewhere.
Yeah, I was like, oh, it's yeah, who played Michael and Jane the Virgin. I was like, oh, that's pretty nice to go see him. So yeah, I mean, she's kind of doing these things. But the movie kind of as it progresses, it quickly reminds you, no matter how bad you think it is, maybe as a guy dating, it's probably like 100 times worse if you're a woman. And
Oh,
we see this when she
yeah,
meets.
it's a lot of scenes where she's just like in her apartment texting a random dude in 3 seconds and dick pic.
Yeah. So yeah, it's probably like 1,000 kind of times worse there. And you kind of
Yeah.
see that with when she meets Sebastian Stan, and she meets him in a grocery store. She's out shopping late at night, and everything seems cool. Everything seems good. So hey, it's Sebastian Stan. You know what I mean? It's Bucky. I mean, he got deprogrammed by
Hey,
Wakanda.
it's
He's all good now.
hey, it's
He's
the Winter Soldier. He's like back in the U.S. He's like getting socialized. He went to therapy.
Yeah, he's all good now, and he's super nice. He's super charming, and
Hmm.
he says like, "Well, hey, let's go off together. We're gonna go to the cabin, just chill out. Just get away from everything." And well, wouldn't you know it? Turns out he's a serial killer. Hey, just our luck. Like sometimes.
Uh, mm, nah. Here's where the real fucking wild shit. So, if you have any intention of seeing this movie, I recommend going into it as cold as you can. So I'll just go ahead and give my rating before I get into the nitty gritty of the plot. I'm giving this 100% stream it.
Mm,
No, 100% tune in. Excuse me. I think this movie is fucking brilliant. I love the filmmaking and the performances from Daisy Edgar-Jones and Sebastian Stan, and a lot of small roles that pop up in the film.
mm, yeah. Uh, Dustin, what kind of your thoughts on the movie there?
It is a. It is a. I agree with Nick on the manner that is. After a certain point, this movie becomes something different, and the less you know, the better.
Mm,
The surprise it brings into it and where it goes borders on camp, borders on the idea of
Mm.
camp, but it's executed with such carefulness. I almost want to say
Mhm.
that you buy it. You buy it in this weird motion that it kind of
Mhm.
gives, and without even going anything further, I will
Yeah,
say
yeah.
for the
Even if
certain audience,
even,
some people will be turned off what happens after that point.
mm,
And I will tell people when it crosses that point, it's not going to get better. It's only going to get more weird.
mm, yeah.
So if that turning point, you're like, oh, I'm out. Totally understand it. But if the people stick around, you're gonna see something interesting and something weird. So I'm gonna give it a solid tune in. I think it does for what it's going for and how weird it's kind of being. I think it does a solid job.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah, I think what separates it is it does kind of go into that territory of camp. I think even if the plot, even if the story on film is kind of campy, everybody behind the camera is playing it 100% straight, which is how you have to do
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, first of all, I think Sebastian Stan does a very good job in this movie. Playing, really both sides of the character. And I think also
Sebastian Stan Sebastian Stan, he's one of those actors that I think when it was announced that he was going to play Bucky Barnes in Captain America a while ago, I just thought, wait, that dude from Gossip Girl, really? That's who you got? And then the longer his career has gone on, the more he's gotten to break away from and add new depths to the like Falcon and the Winter Soldier and his performances and stuff like I, Tonya and everything else he's done outside. He's a terrific actor.
Yeah. And here he gets to do kind of, something a lot different than I would have seen him do, and which was pretty nice. As the movie kind of goes on, like you said, it kind of does make that turn there, which is, just kind of just dramatic turn. You don't even really get to see the credits of this movie until midway through the movie, where you get introduced to the cast, and then you see the title of the movie, which I thought was an interesting choice and decision. And a lot of, also just kind of what they do kind of food wise also reminded me a lot of like Hannibal, the TV show by Brian Fuller, which was very gorgeously, like, the look of it, the design of it, was like very, very much impressed me. I thought, like, I don't know if that was more of a inspiration here or not, but I was kind of getting a lot of kind of vibes from there when there was a lot of the food stuff here. Which was very good to see. And then when actually the beginning of it, when you see the relationship between the two of them develop, it's very good. You know what I mean? Like I said, he's great at playing the dual kind of character. And then you see with also the actress who plays Noah, Daisy Edgar-Jones, she's great at also, playing these different sides and, as this is all happening to her, which I think is great, seeing her develop. You also have her best friend character who, and I'm not just saying it because, I mean, both of them are black, but it kind of also reminded me a little bit of, like, just talking about Lil Rel Howery in Deepwater. This character reminded me a lot of Lil Rel Howery when he was in Get Out. You have her best friend here who's Molly, which I was like, yeah, that kind of gave me a lot of those vibes there. But yeah, I thought, I mean, this was such a good contrast to see this back to back, because I saw Deepwater, then I saw this, and this was such an interesting contrast. I was like, well, this is how you do it. This is a good, thriller kind of horror movie here. This is really how you do it, and good example of building up the tension, seeing things develop, and really rooting for your, protagonist here in the movie. So I would give it, a very, very strong tune in, myself. Dusk, what would kind of,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now that we got the ratings out the way, if you haven't seen the film, I highly recommend like muting us for a little bit because
Yeah.
So 3, 2, 1. Yeah. So motherfuckers are eating people in this.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great companion piece with the French movie from 2016 called Raw.
Yeah, I've been meaning to check that movie out. I heard really great things about that movie. I've been meaning.
Raw is kind of in the same vein, but of like much more, much darker. It's like a coming of age film where a vegetarian finds out that she gets off on eating meat, kind of, sort of, and becomes a cannibal, sort of.
Nice. Yeah.
It's weird. It's fucking weird.
Yeah. I think also with this movie, like you said, bordering on camp, like it does a great job at really balancing the humor too, because there's like some dark humor moments in this too.
I mean, he cuts off her buttocks as punishment.
He cuts her ass off while he's like singing to some 80s pop.
Yeah. And then scenes he's dancing around the house where he's singing, where he's preparing the meal, like he takes the leg out of the freezer and dancing with the leg.
Meat for it is very dark. It's very dark comedy, but it also is very funny and also very off-putting.
It is very. That's what I'm saying. It dances. It dances on the line between camp and dark comedy, and it is break dancing on that shit very carefully. And any other, if any performance was out, any performance was bad, or any of the direction was bad, it could go either way, and yet and couldn't become complete schlock. And yet it somehow avoids that miraculously, and that's where it's more of a oh my god, I can't believe they did that. Although there's some moments even I'm like, okay, that's a bit schlocky, but they got away with it. They're able to pull it back a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. What
Just
moments were
enough.
you? Yeah, what moments were you thinking were schlocky?
Besides him singing and surgically cutting off her buttocks, or the time where she tries to like have sex with him to try and get him on that whole scene, or you mean the part like I could name a couple of different places, my friend, but we're kind of is like what's happening here? What kind of tone are you going for? You're still bouncing on that tone, so there's a bunch of different parts, but there's parts where it's really going on, especially like the end. Like especially after it's all said and done, you're like that one room, like oh, they're just in a white room, and it's all like numb, and they're all just like a fucking plate of
Okay,
meat.
that end credit sequence. That was kind of the point where it was like, wait, what are you going for here?
Yeah.
Is this like trying to set up for a sequel, or is this trying to of like, hey, rich and power people like, especially like young women.
I mean, okay, sure.
There was like a
I have a feeling though.
after
Go
credit
ahead.
sequence or something like that. Is that
There was an after credit sequence, surprisingly.
Yeah,
Jesus fucking Christ.
after credit. It's just the because you get montages of like these wealthy people eating a lot of the meat that Sebastian Stan's prepared for them, and the after credits is just say, hey, they're all in this one room.
Okay.
It's very reminiscent of stuff like Hostel.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very much a like oh they have this very gorgeous clientele. No, really, it's just like these people, this super elite that have this very weird taste in going for it and going for this thing, and it's just kind of like, all right, I guess. Poor Noah though, she's gonna be buttless basically unless she gets a butt transplant.
I mean, she's still got both legs, unlike I think the character's named Penny, who's played here by Andrea Bang, who we saw and who you might remember from Kim's Convenience.
Oh,
Took me a second to recognize her. It's like,
Yeah, she doesn't. At least she, yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, honestly, he did horrible awful stuff. I am curious though, if they ever did make a sequel to this, if it's gonna go like Happy Death Day, where it starts off in the first one being this balance of a thrill and whatever, and the second one they're like, screw it, we're all camp. We know we can't beat that tone, so we're just gonna go all in. I get that feeling. If they ever would do a sequel, it would just be completely camp. Hopefully, not in like insulting camp where Hostel 2 went into and the rest of the Hostel movies went into, where it's just this is pathetic. I don't even want to watch this.
Oh.
And kind of at least in the comedy vein that Happy Death Day went into, where it just became a comedy, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Interesting. All these movies have after credit sequences now. Jesus Christ! Like
That was one I didn't expect. I literally just I heard about it and I had to reopen
that's
it
what
back
I
up.
that's what I legitimately did not expect or see coming, especially because the way the movie ends, it's of course guy in his like mid-30s picking up one. Of course he's married.
Yeah.
And his wife is also in on it, and during like one of the last confrontations she tries to kill Noah, and this hilarious exchange of just her and her friend that's sitting up against somebody. It was like, who the fuck was that? It's like, oh, that's his wife. And she's just shocked. It's like, he's married?
Yeah, a little bit. Like when that moment happened, I was kind of thinking like that moment in Texas Chainsaw Massacre when they were driving away in the self-driving car, and I was like, well, this is kind of the same moment, but maybe I'm forgiving of this moment in Fresh because, well, this movie's just vastly superior in every single way.
I'm forgiving of this. I'm forgiving of that. I'm forgiving of that moment in this film One, because I actually like the characters in this film versus in Texas Chainsaw. In that film, I couldn't wait for those motherfuckers to get killed.
Yeah.
In also, secondly, the movie earns it. It's been so of dancing on that tone. So when that actually comes up, it's not so much a well, what the heck? It's more of a logical. How crazy the situation has been in. It's a nice little like a relief moment where and no one's just like, who the fuck was that? And Meryl's like, oh yeah, that's his wife, and she's like, he's married, and it's like an addition on top of this crazy bullshit she had to deal with on top of it, and it's a very realistic of like, oh my fucking god, like on top of everything else, the situation we're in, and now we're okay. And we've done what we had to do, and both obstacles are out of our way, so we can just have that moment to just go, fuck, and that's it. Done. Movie over.
Yeah, that was a nice callback. Nice callback to 2 as well. Wonder where the henchman guy. I wonder where he went. But
I don't know. Maybe he's still on the payroll. Maybe he just decided I didn't really like this job anyways. It was a paycheck.
Yeah,
it's like this motherfucker's weird.
Yeah.
Look, man, I'm just making a paycheck, and I try not like I get nightmares and shit, but I just follow it because that's money.
Yeah.
I got nightmares, but rent's due on the 1st.
Exactly. Actually, I would have totally if they wrapped up with like them being on the road and the two people and like the guy comes back and he's in a car and he's like, "Are they dead?" And they go, "Yeah." Oh, thank God. He's like, "I'm gonna call the police." Like if that was the end of it, he's like, "Whatever." Like you want to fuck that? He was crazy as shit. Fuck that. I'm taking you guys to the police station. Get the fuck in. And then she's like, get out. He's like, and Maribel's like, get out. I'm driving.
It was also a nice get out moment too at the end as well. Speaking of that movie, kind of get out with the bartender. He kind of come in and go like, yeah, you know what? Because you think he's maybe gonna come in, save it. It's like, nah, you know what? I'm getting the fuck out of here.
He's like, nah, fuck. He has the most realistic reaction of like being driven to the middle of the. It's like, fuck this, I'm out.
Yeah. So I was very pleasantly surprised by this. Very great movie. Yeah, very very great kind of movie here. This is directed by Mimi Cave. I'm interested to see what they do next. Really interested to see what they do next, wise, because I thought this was a great debut. Here. So strong tune-ins all around, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.